So, Magali, for those who don't know you, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. I'm a personal brand strategist for speakers who are already speaking or consultants who would like to get invites for paid stages, for paid workshops, and other potential revenue streams. And I do so through personality first positioning and branding. That's what
That
I do.
sounds interesting to me and something that definitely stands out. And before discussing that in more detail, can you, Magali, tell us more about your background, as we
Yeah.
just discussed? And it's also something that I'm sure that many people have seen if they come across you online. So,
Yes. So I have autism and ADHD, which plays a big part in where I'm at and, the things I've been through, including a TED Talk. This landed me my first talk, and it was TEDx. But at the same time, it wasn't always easy for me. So I have a pretty unconventional journey, I think, because living and growing up with autism and ADHD by default means that you're likely to struggle more in some areas, which I did, including 9 to 5 jobs and all of
yeah.
that. But when I started doing this over 10 years ago, I think it was over 10 years ago, I always questioned the status quo. I really wanted to fight the stigma and beliefs people had about autism, ADHD, and its limitations. And I'm so glad I proved them wrong.
And I can imagine there are many people who have the same diagnosis or face it as well, but you are like a great inspiration for them talking about it
Thank you.
openly and even the success that you've got despite this. So I'm sure that you're doing great work.
I think that when it comes to success, it's not in spite of this. I think it's because of it, because I really like my autism and ADHD give me like one clear goal and I just really go for it. Like I just, I don't overthink it. I mean, I do overthink a lot, but I don't overthink
I
the stuff.
overthink as well.
I don't overthink the stuff I wanna do. I just, I'm like, okay, I've never done this before. Let's just do it. And I figure it out along the way. And I love that because I'm not the person who, buys a course or a book to learn from. I just, put in the work and then I learn from it. And that's how I've approached just about everything in my life.
Learning by practice is the
Yeah.
best one, isn't it? I remember, if I'm not mistaken, from the TED talk that you said is both curse and blessing, which I
Yeah.
think is kind of really well said.
Yeah, it is because I do get overwhelmed faster, and sometimes, especially when the stakes are high, I feel like I see the world very black and white. I also feel, or I used to feel really, really lonely about me. And, this is also an autism and ADHD thing. I don't believe in beating around the bush. I believe in, telling people everything to their faces and
Yeah.
not lying or backstabbing. I just hate that. If I don't like someone, they'll know. And if I do like someone, I'll do everything for them.
Yeah.
And with my clients, I'm either all in or all out. Like I don't half-ass it. I can't half-ass it.
Yeah.
So, and I guess like a big part of my positioning and the way I approach this with clients too is I turn flaws into features. So what people describe as too intense, too direct, too black and white, I translate it into a very much a go-getter, results and fast progress. And it's really amazing because it's funny because the thing that people keep toning down, the parts that they keep hiding behind, are typically the parts that that set them apart. Does that make
Make you
sense?
unique. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the entire philosophy behind personality first positioning.
I like it, and I think especially on LinkedIn because I feel like that people often look for some kind of secret or I don't know, but
Yeah.
at least one of my favorite kind of pieces of advice is to be unique, which of course it's easy to say, but kind of tough one. Okay, be unique, but what does it mean? But as you said now, embrace such as flaws or something that makes you just different than the others, and then actually makes you stand out on LinkedIn.
Yep, that's it.
And to share a bit of context, or just for the audience to know, how old were you when you found out?
That I'm autistic
Mhm.
and ADHD, 14 years old. So I've been living with my diagnosis for about 22 years now.
Okay. And I know that there must be like many ways or many things, but what are some examples that make it for you harder? Or, for some people without a diagnosis, it's like a sure or regular thing, but for you, it's something that you struggle with and people may not realize.
So the hardest part, sometimes because autism and ADHD, they're both considered to be disorders, but sometimes I wonder, is it a disorder because people with autism and ADHD are suffering, or is it a disorder because of the lack of willingness of society to adapt and to include us? So, generally speaking, when I share my struggles, people will say things like, oh, but sometimes I'm late too, or I forget a lot too, or I tend to get overwhelmed by noise too. It's different. So, for me, when I'm at a restaurant, and this happened, this was just the other day. I was at a restaurant, went out for dinner with my partner, and there was like lots of background noise. It was like a large group, and they were like laughing, and I couldn't focus on having a normal conversation with my partner. And because I was annoyed, I tend to hyper focus on the very thing that is annoying me, and I get so overwhelmed. And I'm very blessed and lucky to have a partner who understands this, but this, it's not for everyone. The thing that I struggle with the most, I'd say, is running a household. So I really like the gap between my job performance and me running a household. It's crazy. Like it's like I'm really disabled. I will forget to clean up. I don't see like the mess, and people will always assume that it was an excuse, but it wasn't, because it's annoying for me too, obviously. And the way I deal with these things, and I feel, again, I feel very lucky to be in such a position. I outsource everything I suck at because of my disorder. Like some things, I don't believe having autism or ADHD means like just accepting some doom's fate. But I do believe that if there's things that you keep struggling with that are giving you so much, pain and frustration, that you should outsource those things. And this is why I outsource everything with invoices, administration, and all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, I think it's smart because no one really like, or not no one, but for example, when you're creative, you usually don't like doing paperwork and stuff like this.
Oh my goodness, no.
And something that, for example, helping with brands, with, I don't know, CEOs and people like this, I think that these higher ranked people often struggle or don't really understand what is it like to outsource work, because
Yeah.
you feel like, okay, I'm the best one, I can do it, I can handle it by myself. But at the same time, you don't have 24 hours to do everything by yourself.
My
And you need to be
goodness.
realistic. There are just people who are better than you are in certain areas.
Yeah, and I swear, I just a couple of weeks ago, I almost wanted to quit because of all the paperwork. I was like, I can't handle this because
Yeah.
I'm behind on so many things, which is why I now hired a PA. So
hmm And I think at the same time, at least, it gives you time to focus what you're best at and also what you enjoy
yeah,
the most, right?
yes, yes, so
And
true.
so then what would be the areas that you enjoy the most?
So I love, like, I'm currently, I'm all in on the AI thing, but not in the way that everyone is, all AI. The way I see it, AI can optimize certain processes, but I don't outsource the entire process to writing. The worst thing that's happening right now, I think, is people losing common sense and critical thinking over AI. I
I
hate
think
it.
so.
I hate it so much. So I'm figuring out how I can optimize the daunting and repetitive tasks for me, how I can use it as an editor to improve my writing, since I'm not a native speaker. English is not my first language.
I
And
speak amazing.
thank you so much. So do you.
Thank you
And
too.
so that's basically my area of hyper focus, but also the personality first positioning and strategy. Like because of my autism and ADHD, I have excellent pattern recognition, and I'm a fast thinker, and I am able to connect the dots real fast, which is why I know almost right away how to make a speaker or a consultant stand out, because I see like some patterns and the thing that they feel, hesitant or reluctant to talk about is often the thing that, is, the leverage to boost their brand and their revenue and all that. So I love talking to people. I'm an extroverted person, which goes against the general image people have of autism and ADHD. I'm not an introvert. Like I'm yeah, so it's AI, personality first positioning, and helping people. Because to me, personal branding is not just some strategy or like some business thing. I feel, and today, especially because people trust people, so they don't trust brands anymore. But also, it's an identity thing. It's not just a brand. It's also not, some fancy colors and some values slapped on some
Yeah.
deck. It's really, it's identity work. It's doing the uncomfortable work, the soul searching part, and that's what I love. I have always loved psychology because of my autism and ADHD, but also because of, marketing is psychology, right?